No matter where I'm at, I'm gonna do me, whatever that means. And you can't be embarrassed about being who you are, but truly, truly embracing the ways that you are and allowing the ways that you are to be enhanced. And one thing I have learned over time, since you didn't ask, but I'm going this way now. But what I have learned over time is when you try to quench who you are or shrink back from who you are, and not allow God to utilize who you are, it's a challenge to not become what you see other people being. It's a challenge to not copy, because when we copy and we're not able to copy well, then we feel that we're off track. Yeah, you off track. You really off track. You walking on the side of the road. You're not even on track, because you're being something that you're not, or attempting to be something that you're not. And I know I suffered from that for many, many years, trying to be what I thought a woman should be as a woman that loved God. I'm like, I'm not good at being somebody else. I'm just not good at it. And I will crash every time. I can even remember trying to sound like, having the same mannerisms, even using other people's words. And it was like, that felt fake. That felt copy-like. And it didn't feel genuine. And because I wasn't genuine, God wasn't speaking to me like he wasn't, the way he attempted to speak to me, I wasn't in the posture to hear it, because I was trying to be someone else that heard God that way. And so even though it seemed like I wasn't hearing God, God was always talking. I was out of line. I was copying. I was taking somebody else's notes. I was actually trying to sound like somebody. And matter of fact, right now on top of my head, I can think of the people who I was trying to sound like. And so we do know when we're copying, as I add my sweetener to my tea and getting it prepared to be slurped. We do know when we're copying, and we do know when we're being original. And when we're not being original, we get frustrated because we don't know the components that made those people who they are. We don't know the ingredients. We don't have the recipe. And we don't have the recipe. Listen, you have your recipe. You will never have nobody else's recipe. You know, God will only reveal to you your recipe to make you who you are. When you forfeit the components that's supposed to make you who you are, then you are alleviating ingredients that's supposed to create an end result that's amazing. If you decide to take some ingredients out of a meal, you making a cake and you say, I don't think it needs flour. Okay. To see how, can you serve that? No. What if you felt like that it didn't need any sugar? Can you serve that? No. You cannot even serve it. Oh, but if you know the type of cake that you are, the basic foundational ingredients of a cake is still the same. It's the other extra things that changes the flavor. So I'm a cake, you a cake, everybody on here is a cake. But we are all different flavors of cake. And my flavor of cake requires specific ingredients for that cake. The cake that you are requires specific ingredients for you that you can't utilize mine, because it's going to shift it to taste like, that sounds like it tastes like Bridget cake. It don't taste like Jason cake. It don't taste like Darren cake. Every person's supposed to have a flavor, and we do. We're just assuming what kind of ingredients you got. What did God tell you to put in your cake? And so, well, since he told you to put cinnamon in your cake, I think I ought to put cinnamon in my vanilla cake. Now what you're giving or what you're producing tastes like, I can't put my finger on it, but it's something about this cake and it ain't good. I mean, I'm eating it so people can receive from your life, but they can't quite put their finger on why it's not quite what it ought to be. But you know that you had cinnamon in that vanilla cake and it wasn't never supposed to be in it. So now many of us, that's not what we was here talking about, but many of us are at the place where our cake that we've produced is not servable. It's not edible. It's finished, but it's not, it went through the oven, but it's still not servable. We're going to have to put that cake in the trash and go back to what God has told us, our ingredients, and be specific. Okay, you say a tablespoon, not a teaspoon, because I don't feel like. No, you said tablespoon. Okay, I'm going to be sure to put the tablespoon of whatever you tell me in here. I'm going to put a cup and not a third of a cup and not 3/4 of a cup, but a complete cup of whatever else you tell me to put in here. I'm going to also put my dry ingredients together, and I'm not going to try to add dry ingredients, add liquid. No, I'm going to have my dry ingredients in one pan, mix it all together. And I'm going to have my wet ingredients in another pan, because that's the order of operation for my cake. And then once those two things are created, then I can put them together. And sometimes we try to do things out of order and out of, because we feel like it ought to go there. That's not what it says for you. And so we get in that conundrum, and I said all that to say, anytime anybody asks me how you doing, I'm going to say awesome, and I'm going to sing it, no matter where I'm at. So I'm being my ingredient everywhere I go. And I'm allowing God to grow me where I need to grow, but I'm still maintaining my ingredients. Make sense? Well, that's good. I thought that I was going to talk about something else, but then we went here, and here we are. Well, everybody, welcome